Orna, talk to me about, because there's always this impression that franchisees have this whole model made available to them, but there are other professional services that a franchisee should consider when they go into franchise.
Absolutely. I think it's absolutely vital that a potential franchisee, and indeed someone who's already in the business, if they haven't already taken the services, that they go take legal advice, that they go take accounting advice. And they need the legal advice up front, but they may need it in an ongoing way. They will need the accounting advice up front, and they will certainly need to keep an accountant in their suite of advice going forward. The solicitor is very important because they will be able to explain to you exactly the implications of what you're signing up to in the franchise agreement. That's a shareholders agreement, effectively, or equivalent to it. You wouldn't do something like that you shouldn't do something like that without taking legal advice. You wouldn't buy a house, I would hope, without taking the proper advice. So why should you go into something like this where you're investing in someone's business, in their brand? The second thing, they're the accountants. A good franchise will give you the guidelines, in other words, what are the gross margins, what are your sale costs or whatever, but they should not be developing your business plan and your financial projections from start to finish. You need to own them, you need to be involved in those, but most people aren't accountants, so they need the advice and the participation of a good accountant.
Would it be a warning sign if the franchisor gives you the business plan?
I think you need to be a little bit careful about that. I wouldn't see it as a warning sign necessarily, in that they're trying to be helpful.
Okay.
So they will probably give you a template and say, this is how we operate. However, if they didn't allow you to go and work through that with an accountant, I would certainly see that as a warning sign. That said, I would be very surprised to see a franchisor who didn't want you to take that independent advice.
But you know that this whole idea of a franchisor filling in a template for the client.
Well, the franchisor will not know your local market. You are buying the rights to replicate a business process in your local market. You should know your local market better than them, and you should be taking the independent legal advice to develop the accounts with them.